I got some questions from Norman Love after my group being video. If you haven't seen the original video, I would go watch it first. It's all about how I consider myself a group being because I have multiple souls or spirits or energies in me that make Rachel. My personality is just a mixture of all of them, which is why I'm so different when I'm Intimate Alien. She's a part of me all the time and has been since birth, but she has a definite like bubbly, big energy about her. But mixed with my Zeta, my Angelic, I'm more mild on an everyday basis. But I don't have like one soul. There's not one soul that's Rachel. It's a whole bunch of different energies that mix together that make me. So go watch that video if that's interesting. And I'm gonna just answer some follow-up questions. Okay, do you have access to their memories from their worlds? Yes and no. I did some kind of hypnosis once. It was the first time I'd ever been hypnotized. It was called something special. I'll put it on the screen because I can't remember it right now. But it was like a 3-hour session, and that's where I got to see all these aspects of myself. And it was very emotional, very cool. Like I got to see where Intimate Alien lives. I got to see a Zeta life of mine. So in that respect, yes, I have their memories. I have access to their lives right now because all of them have their own lives on other places right now as well. They just put part of their energy in me. So I can go there. In the hypnosis, I went there and I saw things, but I can also go there on my own, which I do from time to time, mostly to the Pleiades, but I've gone to other places as well. So do I have their specific memories, like each individual life? I can, and I have, but I don't necessarily do it on a regular basis, mostly because it's like a part of me's already been there, done that. You know, like I don't necessarily go back to myself and be like, oh, like what was third grade all about? I can, and sometimes when I'm writing, I'll write about stuff like that, but it's just like yourself. Like to me, it's not a huge deal because that life is still living and is just focused on tomorrow and today. Like it's more about where we're going than where we've been. So I hope that answers it. If so, what is it like being an angelic? Oh gosh. Okay, so being angelic is powerful and loving. Those are the biggest things I feel when I'm tapping into my angelic side and when I've interacted with them personally. So solid and powerful. I could definitely understand why they're called warriors and they're seen in like warlike situations because they're so solid. But also, that's really where I got to feel unconditional love for the first time is through angels. I mean, I had no idea. First of all, as a teenager, I thought angels were dumb and stupid and made up. And then I found out that I was one, and I was like, oh, well then why do I have to have a job? So I've had some like love-hate with angels. They terrified me when I was a little kid. That was one of my first like memories of seeing beings that aren't human. They used to come from the ceiling at night and kiss me on the forehead when I slept over my friend's house. And I was completely terrified. Like I would pretend to be sleeping and unconscious. I would pull the covers up over my eyes and I was just like waiting for it to be over. When I really let myself feel their energy, of course, there was nothing to be afraid of. Of course, they're real. They're amazing. And if you ever need a rock to lean on, or if you're ever feeling anything emotionally negative, call on an angel, anyone, they'll show up for you. Even if you can't feel them, they'll be there because let me tell you, there's nothing like an angel hug. In my psychic development classes on the last night, because it was 6 classes, I used to bring my angels out and have people walk through them in the middle of the room and stand there and get hugged, and it was such an experience. It's overwhelming. Most people start to cry, including myself, just because it's like drenched in unconditional love. So to me, that is what it's like to be angelic. Also the chiming. If you've never heard the angel chimes, it's totally real. It's like harmonics, it's like how they sound. So that's cool too. Now when it comes to our like going to the angelic world and realm, I really haven't done that much. I've mostly interacted with them here. Although there was one angel who was super special. I'll have to make a separate video about him. His name was Enderon, and he was really the first angel that like wanted to talk, just like Intimate Alien. Enderon wanted an audience. He wanted to interact, and so we put on this live event like 10 years ago, and I had people come and they could ask him questions, and he had me like writing charts and running around the room, and it was incredible. How he introduced himself to me was by like, he gave me this image of him falling like toes over head like that down from a cloud in the sky, like, you know, like somebody like toppling down from the sky. It was so funny, and he is quite the character, so we'll do a video about that for sure. What do? They live just like we live. Like, I have a life here, I have an incarnation here, they've joined to make me, and we're living life like, you know, anybody else. They're living life on their own planets and spaces and place. So that's what they do. I mean, obviously there's different things that they do on different planets and dimensions, like Intimate Alien in her world. There's a lot of like energy passing through and energy management in way more easy like ways than I can describe it with the word management. In the Zeta world, I found there's like a lot of transport happening, a lot of like experiencing what it's like to be a family for the first time, like in groups. Like it was very sterile for a long time, like, well, literally, but also like there weren't really emotions and caring for each other and like bonding, and that's happening, which is really interesting. It's more technical there, and so that's what is, you know, happening on the Zeta side. There's these little blue things that I still haven't really ventured into. They're cool. Like, they seem more like animals than like humanoids, which is really interesting to me. We'll go there together. Maybe I'll make a video about it. It'll give me an excuse. So what do? They just live like us in their various ways. Are they from your oversoul? Are they your soul and your other lives? So we kind of covered that. You could consider them my oversoul, or you can consider me part of an oversoul or an oversoul. Like, it's kind of hard to put into words because we have this linear definition of all of this, and I don't feel very linear. I'm like a bunch of souls in one body, and these souls all have their own lives, you know, like in their own place in the world, and it's probably even more complicated than that. Like, they can all have more lives than just me if they want to. Intimate Alien has said she doesn't, but she's also said her world, they often merge with each other for various lengths of time, and her energy is present in a lot of other places too. So I think it's way more fluid than we have a model for right now, which is okay, but it's kind of like how we're all discovering, like, hey, maybe I'm gender fluid, maybe I'm sexually fluid. Like, that's how I feel. I feel fluid in all of that, and it's probably because I have so much different energy in me where it wouldn't make sense to be one thing. So I doubt anything is one thing. I doubt a soul is a soul. I doubt an oversoul is an oversoul. I think everything is everything. We're just choosing to see certain aspects of it in certain ways. And yeah, so they are my soul, like they are me. That combination of things is me. Yes, they have other lives too, like we just talked about. Are we all like this, or is it just something rare for you or a small portion of society? You know, it's really hard to say. Like, when I was interviewed a couple years ago about this, I felt like it was a little more rare to have a group being be a person. I don't necessarily feel that way anymore. What I think is the rare part is being conscious of it. I'm sure there are a lot of people who are experiencing this, but they just don't know it. And I think the rare part is that I know it. And I've had the experience of it throughout various phases of my life. Like, I've perceived this differently in different stages of life. And so, yeah, I think it's a really fun personal journey to be on, to determine like what you are and where you're from and all of that. It's not necessary for you to live your life, but it can be interesting if it comes up for you. Like, if you're watching this video, maybe you're now gonna go and try to find out what your energy's from. And a good book for beginners in this is Soul Mastery by Susan Taylor Shear, because she talks about how the different energies feel from different places. And so that could be great if you're looking into this for the first time, or you've just never read that book. I'm not an expert on all of this stuff. Like, I'm only really familiar with me and where I'm from, and just I scratched the surface of different places like Orion and Arcturus, and where a lot of other people are from on the planet right now. So yeah, I'm not an expert. I can't really tell you where you're from, although I could psychically. An intimate alien has done that for people. But yeah, it's cool. So happy trails, finding out more information about you if you're interested in that. If you have more questions for me, I love talking about this stuff, so I'm totally open to it. Just leave them in the comments below. And thanks for asking. We love you so much. Bye.